Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how I determined my significant figures on the previous video where we did a reaction, determined our limiting reagent, and did our percent yield. So here is our screen from our problem. I left everything in so we can see where everything comes from. I'm going to be using my green to show the different significant figures. Let's deal with the molar masses first. So if you look at my lead nitrate up here, because this is an addition subtraction problem, I'm looking at decimal places, and I only have one decimal place for my molar mass of lead. Hence, I only have one decimal place here. That gives me 4 sig figs overall. I'll do the same thing for my potassium iodide. I'm looking at decimal places. They both have 4, so yes, I should have 4 decimal places here. That gives me 7 sig figs. Potassium nitrate, you can see I have a good number of decimal places. Again, I have 4 everywhere, so I should have 4 decimal places here. This again gives me 7 sig figs for my molar mass. If you go down and look where I calculated my moles, I'm just going to deal with my lead nitrate because that is my limiting reagent. I started with 3 sig figs, that's what the problem gave me. Again, here is my molar mass that has 4 sig figs, so I should have 3 sig figs total for my limiting reagent. I should be rounding right here. I'm going to go ahead and put a 3 there. Notice I went ahead and kept 4 digits to do all my calculations. It's perfectly fine. If we look at my next page where I carry that calculation on through, again, I should be rounding to this too. My mole ratio is exact. My molar mass of my potassium nitrate has 7 sig figs. So what's going to limit me are my 3 sig figs and my lead 2 nitrate. Hence, I should be rounding right here in my grams of potassium nitrate. If I come down to my percent yield calculation, again, I should be rounding right there. That should have 3 sig figs. I'll put a 3 sig figs down here for my actual yield. This is what the problem gave me. That also has 3 sig figs. 100%, that is an exact number, so that'll never limit you. So you can see that my percent yield ought to have 3 sig figs. I need to round here right here at that 3, and that is how I end up with 64.3% for my percent yield. Don't be afraid to keep extra digits even if you're determining your significant figures as you move along the calculation. A lot of times I'll just keep the number in my calculator and keep going with it. That's fine. I usually like to round at the very end after I've determined my number of sig figs. That way I don't introduce any rounding error into my calculation. I hope that helped clarify how I ended up with 3 significant figures for this problem. Thanks for watching.